Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good day. My name is Nazihah Binti Mazlan with student ID 059558. In this part of the video, I'm going to explain the facts of the case of Au Sing Muay and others and Melombong and Perumahan Sdn Bhd. The plaintiffs in this case originally occupied land owned by Suharta Development Sdn Bhd in 1991. Suharta intended to develop the land and consequently entered into an agreement with the plaintiffs. This agreement stipulated the relocation of the plaintiff to nearby land known as Site C, which was owned by AZHAR Development Sdn Bhd. Suharta committed to constructing low-cost flats or apartments for the plaintiffs within 2 years as part of the relocation arrangements. However, in late 1992, AZHAR surrendered Site C to the state government of Selangor. Subsequently, the state government reallocated Site C to Majlis Perbandaran Ampang Jaya in April 1994. The Majlis then entered into a joint venture with Segar Construction Sdn Bhd, which is a subsidiary of the Talam Group, which includes the defendant for the development of Site C. Initially, the law firm T.H. Su & Co. represented Suharta, AZHAR, and the plaintiffs in negotiations regarding the plaintiff's relocation. However, after the state government reallocation of Site C, negotiation continued with Segar, the defendant and plaintiffs. The defendant, being a subsidiary of the Talam Group, subsequently applied to disqualify Mr. Lim Chong Leong and his legal firm from representing the plaintiffs. The ground for this application were that Mr. Lim had previously advised various parties involved in the case, thereby possessing privileged knowledge and confidential information that could potentially compromise the plaintiff's interest. So that is all for my part. I'm going to pass to the next presenter.
Now moving on to the principle of the case. The court stated that it is strict law that a counsel who received brief for both sides in the same case should not accept one brief if he has already read the other. What is more concerning is if counsel had in fact been acting for both sides and now wish to act for one against the other in the same matter. The court has relied on Rules 3, 4 and 5 of the Legal Profession Practice and Etiquette Rules 1978 to readdress these issues. Now let's delve into these rules one by one. Rule 3 stated that an advocate solicitor shall not accept a brief if he is or would be embarrassed. In this context, embarrassed means being in a situation where acting would create a conflict of interest or compromise professional integrity. So, an embarrassment may arise where the advocate and solicitor find he is in possession of confidential information as a result of having previously advised another person in regard to the same matter, or where there is some personal relationship between him and a party or a witness in the proceeding. Next, Rule 4 provides that no advocate and solicitor shall accept a brief in a case where he knows or has reason to believe that his own professional conduct is likely to be impeached, meaning that his action will likely to be challenged or called into question. Last but not least, according to Rule 5, no advocate and solicitor shall accept a brief if such acceptance renders or would render it difficult for him to maintain his professional independence or is incompatible with his best interest of administration of justice. A simpler term for Rule 5b1 is if a lawyer has ever given advice, prepared legal documents, or represented a party in starting, arguing for or defending a lawsuit or appeal, they cannot then represent the opposing party in the same lawsuit or appeal. Or if he want to, a lawyer must first get written consent from the original or the first client, and he must ensure that representing the new client does not create a conflict of interest or compromise their professional integrity. So the court held that these rules clearly apply to Lim and his firm. Now I will pass to the next presenter.
My name is Muhammad AIMAN and I will continue with the finding of the court. The court think that Lim and his current legal firm should have declined to take on the plaintiff case due to the special circumstances. that will compromise their professional independence and the ability to act in the best interest of justice. These circumstances likely arise from the Lim prior role as a legal assistant to Aidi and Co., where he advised multiple parties involved in the same matter. This situation creates a conflict of interest and the potential for embarrassment. According to the established legal principle, an attorney who has previously advised both sides in the case should not take on a brief if they possess confidential information from the other side. Therefore, it is clearly that Lim should have refused this case given his prior involvement and the possession of confidential information to maintain professional integrity and to avoid conflict of interest.
Assalamualaikum and good day. My name is NURSYAZREENA Binti RAUF, metric number 059609. In this case, the specific duties breached may include: first, duty to avoid conflicts of interest. By accepting the brief to represent the plaintiffs while being privy to confidential information from his previous involvement, Mr. Lim potentially created a conflict of interest. Second, duty of confidentiality. The court's findings imply that Mr. Lim had access to confidential information that could be used in the current case, which could be a breach of the duty to maintain confidentiality. Third, duty of loyalty. Mr. Lim's prior involvement with adverse parties and his possession of confidential information could compromise his loyalty to his current clients, the plaintiffs. So, the decision of the court in this case, the court ultimately granted the defendant's application to disqualify Mr. Lim and his firm from acting for the plaintiffs, emphasizing that Mr. Lim should have refused to act the brief due to his prior involvement and possession of confidential information. This decision highlights the importance of lawyers maintaining professional independence and adhering to the rules of professional conduct to avoid breaches of fiduciary duty. That's all from me. I'll pass to the next presenter. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am AHMAD ZUHDI, Major KAMAZUKI, and I will be presenting on the impact of the case. This case shows the importance of the duty to avoid conflict of interest with client. Avoiding conflict of interest in the legal field is paramount to maintaining the integrity and fairness of the judicial system. Conflict of interest can compromise the objectivity and impartiality required of legal professionals, leading to biased decision-making and undermining public trust. As stated previously, this case shows that a lawyer is under the duty of confidentiality. In other words, lawyers are prohibited from disclosing the communications made by clients to their lawyers. Therefore, disclosing a confidential communication made by clients would be a major breach of trust. Thus, it is prohibited under the legal profession practice and etiquette rules. Moreover, this case also shows that a lawyer must consider the interests of previous clients when accepting new briefs. This is because a lawyer still owes a duty to the previous clients to keep their communication confidential. Thus, a lawyer cannot disclose any communication made even after the case of a client is completed. So, any brief that is linked to confidential information gained from previous client is in conflict of interest between the interests of the new client and the old client. So, a lawyer should reject such brief since they would be breaching their duty towards both clients. Thus, it is the duty of a lawyer to ensure that they are not in conflict of interest with their client. When there is a conflict of interest between lawyer and client, it can result in unethical behavior such as favoritism or the mishandling of cases. Thus, by diligently identifying and mitigating conflict of interest, legal professionals uphold ethical standards, ensure justice is served, and maintain the credibility of legal institutions. This commitment to impartiality is essential for fostering a fair legal process and preserving the rule of law. That's all from us. Thank you.